It's that time again. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I know I'm going live a little bit early as usual, but hey, that's just how it goes. Fish. Hello there. My name's Sleep. I'm here once more. You've seen me multiple times, or maybe this is your first time. But hey, I'm Sleep. Whenever I'm on VR chat at desktop, aka during these streams, I'll be on this heavy. This is what I generally use. It is a public avatar, and it works nicely for the purpose that we have. I need to change my microphone. Sorry, real quick. There we go. I was having it in a way where I could, show people some music that I had going. Gosh, I love looking at these. I don't know why I'm feeling a bit weird today, but hey, it'll be fine. I'm looking at these lovely aquariums. I feel like there needs to be something in them, but at the same time, I think it's kind of cool like this. Honestly, I think it's kind of cool like that on its own. I can't really explain it, but it works. And it's great that way. I genuinely think it's great that way. Yeah. Today, we'll be hearing some spooky stories from Zombie once they are ready to begin their story sessions. And we'll be taking it easy, basically. I'm going to try and take it as easy as I can, because I currently have a small bit of a headache. Yes, and yes, my hand is actually coming up. This is actually my hand. But I also wanted to show something really funny today, which is a tiny little thing known as the Rep Wars. So, because I have my webcam on, I'm using the webcam tracking, my head turning actually tilts the camera in many ways. Up, down, wherever I'm looking. And it actually turns the avatar's head as well. I can show this even further by rotating this camera now, as you can see. Now the camera isn't doing that motion, so let's go somewhere with a little bit more light. Dang it. Well, hey, this will at least do. But yeah, so I can also move my mouse up and down to change the head angle. Left and right, of course, turns me, but my head rotation retains the same. I have a wide range of motion using this, and I can scamper around as a rat. I can live my dreams of being a rat, going around a MacFac. Yeah, rat stream. And honestly, we might in the future. I'm thinking of doing these silly streams where I will actually, use this, as disorienting as it is, and just go around, adventure and scamper, like a business rat, and then just do random things. This could be funny, having a rat doing this. Plus, if we want to, we can also just, wah! We play Dark Souls rat. Yeah. This was made by an amazing creator known as Bordigant. If you want to know who he is, let me actually help you out a tiny bit. This is Bordigant. He makes awesome avatars. Actually go check his stuff out every now and then, if you can. It's really fun. This rat is amazing. And it's fast. Unfortunately, it's not Quest compatible. So, that's an unfortunate thing. But yeah, it's really fun using it. You can also use it in VR if you really want to. And now for the normal thing that I have to do every time, which is rat. And then we do another type. Rat. Then yet another. I'm gonna do this the scuff way. Did that fish breach containment again? Yes, it did. What the fish doing? How did you... Huh? How'd you do that? How did you... Huh. Interesting. How did that fish breach containment like that? Well, it's living its best life up there. Anyways. Rat. And of course, since we have fish now, we gotta do the fish. On all sides. Fish. And fish. Fish and fish. Yes, we are currently waiting for Zombie to be ready, basically. So I'm just gonna poke them a tiny bit. And we'll be just having fun with that. Otherwise... Oh, they're ready. There we go. Alright, let's go. Let's go. Here's some spooky stories. Yeah. Ah! The Requiem room, huh? Let's see. Let's tune the tunes off. And see if this place has custom tunes. If not, we will turn it back on. Alright. Oh yeah. I gotta do this. The thing! Hi, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Hello. Is it me you're looking for?
Man, get your goofy ass around here. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. How you doing? How you doing? Come on in and sit on down. We are back again with another fucking episode of the Midnight Zone. I hope you guys are ready for this. I am personally very, very excited for this episode because I've got some more Max Voynich, because he's a fucking goat. He's our goat with these fucking stories, and I'm gonna be honest, I fucking love reading them, and they're always like nice,
they're
nice,
interesting.
compressed, and fucking like nicely delivered. So we're gonna get into that in just a second here.
Yeah, and he also has a unique writing style for basically every story.
Yes, exactly. First, hydration.
Yeah, always come prepared.
Oh boy, I'm not gonna lie to you, chat. I haven't slept, but I'm somehow feeling fine.
You got the second win, bro.
Unfortunately. But
I wish I had that. I wish I could fucking
We're...
get a second win because I want to crawl back in a fucking bed and just pass out.
I want to crawl into a fucking hole and just die there, bro. But fuck it, we ball. So.
And here we embrace the scuff.
We embrace the scuff, exactly. So, Let me fucking get my music here. If you guys ever wonder what I listen to whenever there isn't a video player here, there is one, but it's a little fucky, so I'm not sure if it's going to work. I tried playing something, it didn't play it.
Oh yeah, and it's all
But
the way up there.
yeah, it's all the way up there. It's a
Let's
big ass
see.
player and it's not synced. It's completely local, so if I play something there, I'm not sure if it's gonna play correctly.
It's
Because
definitely
I tried
not
to
going
earlier
to.
and it didn't work, so
Oh,
there's that.
did you swap it to Unity video as well?
Yeah, I did. It
All
didn't
right,
really
so it's
work.
just the AV Pro TVs are just screwed in that case. Ah, that makes sense.
Yeah, pretty much.
But it's fine. The world already has tunes, so I can just fucking turn the world
Yeah,
volume
exactly.
up like There we go, 80%.
Exactly, but
Holy shit.
if you guys chat ever wondered what I personally am listening to, because I tend to make sure world musics are usually off, or I usually fucking if the video player isn't working, I'll just turn it off. I usually actually listen to the Twin Peaks soundtrack and the Silent Hill 2 soundtrack. More so the former than the latter, because I've been coming around really hard on the original Twin Peaks series, and I do plan on watching the entire series and actually talking about it in a future Yap Sesh possibly. And also, there's the original series, Twin Peaks, the one that everybody thinks about, and then there is the movie Fire Walk with Me, and then there is, I believe, another series. I forget what it's called specifically, but I highly recommend it. I've only even seen just one episode of the original series. Wow. What a if you are a big fan of comfy, cozy horror and like mystery thrillers and stuff, God, what a visionary David Lynch was.
It is the inspiration for stuff like Alan Wake. And also, did you know that a Japanese creator, I think it was it Suda51 or Swery, wanted to make a game of Twin Peaks. He couldn't get the rights, but he said, fuck it. And now we have the game series known as Deadly Premonition.
Yes, we do.
And also Missouri Falls.
Yes, that too. And it also partially, and I do mean partially, inspired Silent Hill as well, which is why the soundtrack and the atmosphere that a lot of people enjoy about Silent Hill franchise, specifically 1 and 2, is so like comfortable and cozy, and it just makes people feel at home, is because of fucking David Lynch's seminal work of Twin Peaks. God, rest in peace, David Lynch. You gave us some good fucking shit. Don't forget, everyone, this Christmas, leave out a plate of black coffee for David Lynch. I do mean a plate. He said a plate. Now, if you guys want to listen along, I usually queue up the first 3 songs from the official soundtrack on Spotify by Angelo Badalamenti. Sorry if I'm butchering that. So it's the instrumental versions of the Twin Peaks theme, Laura Palmer's theme, and Audrey's dance from the movie. Peak shit, trust. So we shall, without further jib jabber blab, we are gonna get into this. If you guys do want to hear me like yap about like more of like music and other like horror stuff, I'd be happy to do a fucking commentary thing of all sorts of stuff on one of these episodes, because not only do I want to like read stories for you guys, which is really helping me with like the way I speak and, you know, dealing with my dyslexia as well, I also just want to talk about horror in general, because horror is such a massive part of my life ever since I was a little wee bimbino. So it would be cool to talk to you guys about that. So if you have any questions or you want to learn anything about what I know about scary stuff and just horror stuff in general, feel free to either type it in the chat or send it in the Discord server. Shameless plug. All right. without further ado, let's get into these first stories. So, what I've got for you guys today is actually, I'm showing a bit of my weeaboo side as well. I have a Japanese story for you guys. It's very, very cool. It is about the kune kune. Now, do you, Sleep, know anything about the kune kune?
I am so fucking confused about my yokai. Isn't the Kune Kune a weird long neck creature? Am I confusing that?
You are thinking of the Roku Dokubi, but you at least know something. Now, the Kune Kune, without getting into too much of a spoiler territory for this story, it is like a mimic. I'll leave it at that. It is like
okay,
a
yeah.
mimic.
I confused it, yep. 100%.
But I am very excited to read this story. I was gonna read some other things, like, fuck, what else did I have? There was a couple, because I usually pull my source materials from, again, the Creepcast, YouTube videos, shout out them. So I'll usually click the links in their description, and then I'll read through the stuff to make sure it's, like, actually suitable for the stream. There was some shit I couldn't really read, like the tale of Hanako-kun, you know, like the anime Toilet Bound Hanako-kun. It was just in a format that wasn't really like good for reading. And now this is just me personally. This is just a thing for me because I believe it or not, am actually a superstitious type. I also was presented with the poem of Tomino's Hell. Now, if you guys don't know about Tomino's Hell, it is a urban legend that states that if you read the poem out loud, bad things will happen to you. I am quite the superstitious type with those kinds of things, so I will not be reading it, unfortunately. If you want to read it, I'm not sure if that, like, thing applies to reading the translated version of the poem. I'd have to look into that for myself, but if you guys want to read it, I do highly recommend it. It is kind of creepy, and of course it comes with like the photo of like the woman with a long ass neck. It is really cool. There was also a Chilla's art game based off of that, where it's like a radio show or something, and the creator accidentally reads it out loud on the radio and dooms a bunch of people. But yeah.
Yeah, it's called The Radio Station.
It's fantastically creepy. Yes, The Radio Station. It's quite good. I highly recommend it. Maybe in the future, if this kind of, I don't want to say the well dries up, or like I feel like I want to like branch out on other things, I might consider doing let's plays of scary games, very short scary games though, because as much as I do love things like Fatal Frame, like Silent Hill, like Resident Evil, those are long-ass games. I'm not gonna play that for like multiple days on end. That's Sleep's thing.
Yeah, that's my thing. So for other people, it would be games like Chilla's Art, because he does very many of these shorter games. And then you got the other ones, which is the Fierce to Fathom series, which are based on true stories.
Yes, exactly.
And some of them are... The Fierce to Fathom series, now going on a little tangent, some of them are very fucking scary. Like, what is it, Ironbark Lookout?
Oh, yeah.
That one is really good, really terrifying, and feels good to play. But then you have the one where you go to that little cottage during winter, or the house that you're supposed to be at. That was kinda ass.
There was way
too much filler there that served no purpose. Like, okay, it's supposed to set the world and stuff, but like Markiplier himself said, what the fuck was up with the whole pizza?
Yeah. There are some things in some of the games that aren't just really conducive for like this sort of format where it's like telling a story. But if you guys are interested in me possibly in the future, like in a bit of a far future, like after the commentary thing or amidst
far away.
if you guys are interested, possibly maybe like middle of next year, of me possibly playing fucking scary games for you guys, let me know. I'd be interested.
Yeah, and there's a bunch that Zombie might not even know of.
Exactly. So, without much yammering on, let's get into this first story. This is Kune Kune. This happened when I went to visit my grandmother's house as a child. We only went to visit my grandmother's house once a year during Obon. As soon as we got there, I took off at full speed with my older brother to play outside. It's entirely different to the city. The air is so fresh and clean. I took in the refreshing breeze as my brother and I ran around the rice fields. Then, as the sun rose high in the sky and stood right above us, the wind suddenly stopped. Well, that's what I thought. But then, a disgustingly warm breeze blew instead. It's already hot at the best of times. Why is such a warm breeze blowing now? I complained, angry that the cool breeze had been snatched away from me. I noticed my brother was looking in another direction, towards a scarecrow in the distance. What's up with that? I asked him. No, not that. Past that, he replied, straining his eyes harder to see. I wanted to see as well, and looked intently over the rice fields. Then I saw it. What was that? It was far in the distance, so I couldn't tell what it was. It was about the size of human, but it was white and swaying to and fro in the breeze. There was nothing around here but rice fields. No reason for any people to be nearby. For a moment, I felt strange. But then I tried to explain it. Isn't that a new type of scarecrow? It has to be. Until now, scarecrows are never moved, so a farmer or someone must have thought it up. It probably started moving with that wind just before. My brother's expression said that he agreed with my precise explanation, but in an instant it disappeared. The wind had stopped, and yet this white thing in the distance was still swaying. Hey, is that thing still moving? What the hell is it? He said, surprise in his voice. He wanted to know what it was, so he returned to the house and came back with a pair of binoculars. He seemed excited. I'm gonna take a look first, so just wait a minute, he said, and eagerly peered through the binoculars. Then suddenly, his face changed. Before my eyes, he started to turn blue and broke out into a cold sweat. Finally, he dropped the binoculars he was holding. Terrified of my brother's transformation, I asked him, What is it? What's wrong? He answered me very slowly. You're better off not knowing. It wasn't my brother's voice. Just like that, he turned and steadily returned to the house. I went to pick up the binoculars to look at what turned my brother's face instantly blue. But perhaps because of what he said, I couldn't find the courage to do it. But something was bothering me. From far away, it just looked like something white, swaying strangely. It was a little weird, but other than that, it wasn't especially scary. But my brother... I had to look. I had to see what my brother saw. You're that scary, huh? Well, I'll decide that with my own two eyes. I picked up the fallen binoculars and went to look. My father suddenly came running towards me. Before I could even ask, "What's wrong?" my father rushed towards me. "Don't look at that thing! Did you see it? Did you look through the binoculars?" No, not yet, I replied, confused. Thank God, my father said, falling to the ground in relief. We went back to the house. I had no idea what was going on. When we got back, everyone was crying. Was this because of me? No, not me. When I looked closer, I could see my brother laughing like a madman. He was moving about like that white thing. Swaying. Seeing my brother like that, he was scarier than whatever that white thing was. Then, when it was time for us to return home, my grandmother said, "It would be better for everyone if you left him here. It'll be easier for him to live here. The place is small, and if you think about your neighbors, they won't even wait a few days before... Leave him here. The best thing to do is release him into the rice fields after a few years." Hearing those words, I broke out into tears. I'd never see my brother like he was again. Even if we came back again the following year, that wouldn't be my brother. Oh God, why did this happen? We were just playing around, having fun. Why? I furiously wiped my tears and got into the car, and we left the house behind. As our grandparents waved goodbye, just for a moment, I thought I saw my brother wave too. As we got further away, I wanted to see my brother's face one more time. So I looked through the binoculars, and he was most definitely crying. His expression was that of laughter, but it was the first and last time he would smile so sadly again. Then, as we turned the corner, I could no longer see him. I broke out into tears once more, not taking my eyes away from the binoculars. Yeah, one day you'll come back, right? I thought. I looked out over the green fields, while remembering and missing my brother. And while I was thinking about my brother, I looked through the binoculars. That was when it happened. I saw the thing up close that I knew I should never see. And that was Kune Kune. So, if you didn't really understand, basically, the Kune Kune is a demon or monster thing that poses as like a scarecrow in a rice field. You can't get close to it, and you can't look at it directly, or else it's gonna drive you insane. And eventually, after about a year or so, it turns you into a Kune Kune as well.
Yeah.
It's very creepy.
It's one of those old folklores to teach kids not to mess with scarecrows because they needed something in order to keep the rice fields safe, and there were a lot of problems with, fields getting damaged, scarecrows getting destroyed, so they made a story about, hey, there's this creature that basically will screw you over if you go and, mess with the scarecrows. The most common one in the West, there are some scarecrow-related, stories. And I think one of the shittiest ones that still kind of terrifies people is, what was it called? Pumpkinhead?
Oh, yeah, Pumpkinhead, yeah. Fucking, there's also, it recalls to me the story I had read once that was actually a, Scariest Stories to Tell in the Dark. I think it's called, like, Herald or something, and it's about a scarecrow, and I think the story is that a kid destroys the scarecrow, and then slowly and gruesomely he turns into a scarecrow, like straw growing out of everywhere, fucking all sorts of shit happening, and just like detailing the transformation of this child into a scarecrow. It's really, really creepy.
Yes, there's also for some reason, a kid's book about it as well called The Scarecrow. I don't know why they decided that was a good thing.
No clue. There's no telling why people decide to turn certain horror stories into something more digestible for children, but honestly, I think it's a good idea to show kids that there are things to be wary of in the world, but we needn't be so scared of everything. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah.
I used to have like a debilitating, and I mean piss yourself fear of the dark when I was much younger. Like even when I was like 18, 19 years old, I was still quite scared of the dark. I could not sleep in any sort of darkness at all. But the more and more I got into horror, the more I was watching scary movies, experiencing these things, especially in VR chat, because when you're playing through like desktop and stuff, it's easy to like look away. It's easy to like detach yourself, like, oh, it's on a screen. I can look away. I can tab out. I can Alt F4. But when you're in VR, it's different. You feel a lot more immersed. And so slowly but surely, my fear of the dark became less and less. And it's quite helpful. It helps you come to terms with the fact that, like, yes, there are scary things in the world, but you can explore those things and understand them through this safe medium of horror. You know what I'm saying? Plus, it can look cool. It can look cool and be, like, meaningful, you know?
Yeah,
Like
and
with
there's life
things
lessons to
like
be learned with
works
them as
by
well.
David Lynch. Exactly.
Because horror need not be just there to shock you, scare you, and make you like afraid and stuff. Horror is there to learn how to do the right thing sometimes. There's a reason why kids are, for example, told to play hide and seek very often. There is a very sad meaning behind it. There are meanings behind, for example, old songs sung by like old babas from Russia about the wolf that prowls around during the night, and if a bad kid goes outside, they get taken. There's a sad story behind it, and they're basically teaching kids that, hey, you shouldn't fear the dark itself, but rather what is out there to keep yourself safe.
Exactly.
And with, like, for example, Silent Hill, which is what Zombie and me are very fond of, Silent Hill itself isn't actually scary. It's a horror game, through and through, but it's not scary. It is a psychological game telling you how to deal with your emotional trauma. Because that's what Silent Hill is supposed to be about until you reach Homecoming.
Yeah, basically. Because with the whole interpretation, at least through my eyes, of things like Silent Hill, humans in general, just the experience of being a human and having emotions and just being an adult is fucking scary. And you gotta, if you don't work through your trauma, it will consume you like the fog, you know, type shit. Like, we could go on and on about like all the symbolisms and fucking shit about Silent Hill, but we'd be kind of here for like 3 hours. So
yeah, we'll talk about that like some other time. But basically, short and simple, Silent Hill is just you're supposed to come to terms with your guilt and whatever traumatizes you. Basically, you're supposed to face it in order to move forward. And coming to terms as an adult with your emotions and stuff, you are supposed to encounter adversities. You're supposed to encounter things that scare you, that disgust you, whatever the hell, so you learn how to deal with it. If you're sheltered, bubbled up, you will never know how to be with these.
Exactly. But yeah, that was actually a pretty fucking nice little like short story. I would love to see some kind of like a game or even like a movie based off of that last story. I think that it could work quite well. But moving on, here we got some shit from our goat, mixed footage. First one is all 18 lives of Omen the cat.
Meow.
Number 1. It was a shock when our family cat, Nancy, passed away while giving birth to a litter of only one kitten. And an even further shock when we noticed that this particular kitten, wrinkled and pink, had 2 heads. Pa said it was an omen. An omen of what? The kitten made a noise, halfway between a squeak and a cough. Pa paused. I don't know. We were silent for a bit while we thought on this. We didn't know either, but no one could doubt that it had to mean something. Made for a good name though. Omen. And so it stuck. The vet told us Omen didn't have long for this world. Said that animals with mutations like this rarely lasted more than just a few weeks at best. Suggested we make a quick bit of cash and find a museum or a lab nearby to sell them to. 2 heads, he said. Omen was a 5-figure paycheck waiting to happen. We refused. Omen was ours. In the end, Omen would end up outliving that vet. And part of me, although I know it can't be true, believes that Omen always held a grudge against him for what he told us that morning. The vet made a joke in poor taste as we left. Might last a little longer. You never know. 9 lives and all. I remember our whole family watching the way Pa looked at Omen's 2 heads. And then back to the vet. 18, he corrected. 18 lives. Number 2. We spent the next few months hand-feeding Omen. Both of their heads. Desperately hungry. Ma would often joke that it was like they had 2 stomachs, the amount of milk they'd go through. We'd take turns to feed in the night, and even though I was much too young to be staying up that late, they could see how much this cat meant to me. And they'd give me an hour or 2 after dark. Omen had the most beautiful black coat, with sleek white socks, and a small cream spot, like a monk, on the top of their left head. The heads would sometimes chatter to each other, and meek little mews when they were alone, as if comparing notes on their new body. Omen always ate better if they could sit in your lap, nestling their little body in the fold of your legs while both of your hands would hold 2 small bottles for them to suckle from. Sometimes I'd sneak out of bed and sleep on the floor in Omen's room, only to be found and scolded by my parents when morning came. But they didn't mind, really. Omen was our favorite. Number 3. On the morning before his first birthday, Omen brought in a 2-headed mouse, clamped in the right head's jaws. The thing was limp and made a soft pat when they dropped it onto the floor. I must have been 12 years old at the time, but I remember poking the mouse with a brush, turning it over to have a better look at each head. I was so absorbed in the rodent's strange biology, I completely ignored the sound of my Ma and Pa coming to stand behind me, hands on hips, watching me watch it. I think it's a message, Pa said. Ma made a noise. He's right. I think they're telling us they're not alone. Both of Omen's head muse in sync, as if to agree. We went on holiday as a family, and as much as it pained us, we were unable to bring Omen. Omen knew something was up when they saw us putting our clothes in bags, and when we all left at once, they tried to sink their claws into our shoes to beg us not to go. But we had to, and we did. When we returned, sunburnt and at ease, we found that Omen had taken the time to smash every single clock in the house. How odd for life 4. Number 5. Omen would bring in all sorts of creatures. Rodents, small birds, beetles it found interesting, frogs, toads, even fish every now and again. One evening, in particular, the family were gathered around the TV, watching I can't remember what, when Omen strolled in, sat right in front of the screen, attention, please, and dropped the bottom half of a squirrel at its feet. The organs and intestines were hanging out, putrid and red. We could see the way Omen's fur was matted around the mouth. He thinks we're hungry. Trying to feed us, Pa said. Oh, that's disgusting. Doesn't look half bad. If you're so hungry, you can clean it up. Omen watched with disappointment as Pa dropped the offering into the bin. Though I didn't miss the whisper that followed. Sorry, Omen. Number 6. We lived in a big house, and family and friends would often cycle through, staying in various rooms when they encountered problems of their own, or just needed a roof over their head for a while. Our uncle came to stay with us during the last days of his life. There was no more modern medicine could do for him, and he told everyone he wanted to die with dignity. We obliged him. And so, for the last week of his life, Uncle lived as normal of a life as he could. Told stories until he grew too tired, never complained, and despite our protests, slipped Omen meat and fish under the dinner table. Around 24 hours before he died, Omen took up a vigil by his bedside. We'd advised by the nurses that we should keep Omen away, that having a cat that close would only cause trouble, that you never knew where your pet had been. But that day, Omen wouldn't budge. They hissed and bared their teeth whenever anybody would make a motion to pick them up. And the whole thing quickly became more hassle than it was worth. It was clear Uncle was deteriorating, and we didn't want to disturb what could be his final moments. Omen lay on his stomach without moving for water or food all day. Both of their heads stood watching, making periodical sweeps of the room, examining the doorway. About an hour before he passed, Omen watched something, invisible to the rest of us, enter through the door and come stand by Uncle's bed. Omen meowed softly, pleadingly. The sound grew and grew until eventually, Omen was silent. 5 minutes later, while holding Ma's hand, Uncle nodded, as if greeting an old friend, and took his last breath. 7. Ma told us she was pregnant. In response, Omen sneezed twice, one for each head. 8. Ma had twins. And, God, Omen loved the twins. From the moment they came home, Omen was all over them, transfixed by their little angelic faces, their impossibly thin wisps of hair, their laughs and their cries. I could almost hear Omen's thought process as both heads stared up at the newcomers. 2 of them. Just like us. 2 of them. 9. A local kid who must have been roughly the same age as the twins at that point, say around 4 years old, fell from the top of their garden wall and broke their skull on the concrete below. Our neighbors told us that they found Omen at the scene, lapping at the pool of blood as if it was cream in a saucer. The broken child was taken to intensive care immediately. Despite the doctor's best efforts, the child didn't make it. Omen came home with blood matted in the fur around their mouths, and turned their noses up at the dinner we'd prepared. They were full. 10. An old woman with matted hair and yellow teeth came to the door. She said that she'd seen our cat and she would pay good money to take them off our hands. She looked like a ghost dragged through a swamp. Her skin was so pale you could see the mass of veins underneath contracting like small worms. And when she spoke, it made my skin hurt. Cats like that are bad luck, she said. Touched by the devil, she said. We told her that they were ours, that they were our family. She snarled and spat it on the front door. I'll see you soon, she said. 11. One night, I heard a noise from the kitchen. Upon investigating, I found that someone was banging against the door. I recognized the voice. The woman from the week before. She was hammering the door now with her fist, frantically. Let me in! Let me in! Let me in! She said, over and over and over again. I stood there, paralyzed by fear. There's something about her that I just didn't trust, that I couldn't trust. I'd seen the way she'd looked at Omen. She wanted them for something. Then the noise spread out over the house. I was aware of the windows on 3 separate sides of the room. that through each window, as I turned, I could make out the same dark figure, pounding against the glass, screeching. It was as if there were several of her, all silhouettes, all at once, begging and pleading to be let in. And the voice cracked and changed and grew hoarser and harsher. Before long, she didn't sound much like a woman at all, but something hungry and vicious. Pa eventually came down and found me hiding under the table. Omen was sat facing the door, tail flicking from side to side. Pa said that in the following silence, he could hear their heads chatting away to one another. He said they sounded serious, concerned. 12. I was brushing my teeth the following week, just after my shower, when I heard some scratching at the door. I tried to ignore it. Sometimes Omen would do this, beg to be let in after you'd had a shower so they could drink the water around the drain, but Ma said we had to stop Omen from their more unsavory habits in case we had guests. I kept the door firmly shut. Omen grew more and more persistent, raking their claws down the wood and meowing as if it were a fire. I could have sworn that the door was shut, but in my reflection behind me, I could make out the door start to open, slowly, fraction by fraction. My hand stopped moving the brush, leaving it stuck in my mouth like a cocktail stick. When I saw a hand slowly emerge from the door in the reflection, a hand, then a face I recognized, a gnarled and ancient face, all gums and loose skin, and I could see the woman slowly force her way into the room in the mirror and falling backwards. It was all I could do to try and grab the door, slipping on the handle. The door flew open, both in real life and the reflection, and as I staggered back, I could see the woman now dead on, smiling, reaching towards the surface, towards me. My hand found something hard and heavy, and it was all I could do to throw it at the mirror. There was a crash and the sound of falling glass, and then silence. It took me a while to absorb my surroundings, for the adrenaline to wear off. I had thrown my alarm clock, a heavy brass thing that was so loud it was impossible not to wake up. Omen was sat by the shattered clock, their two faces reflected endlessly in the dozens upon dozens of mirror shards that covered the floor, blinking and preening themselves before stepping closer, pushing their forehead against mine. Just for a moment, I felt as if I'd touched something old and dark and so hot, and then Omen pulled away and left me to clean up the mess. 13. The twins were followed home by a strange man in a long coat with thin blonde hair that he'd very carefully slicked back over his otherwise bald head. He made lewd gestures at them, which they could repeat but not understand, and said words that made Ma blush. Ma said she found the man by her gate, staring into Omen's eyes, all four of them, without blinking. Said that she told the man she'd call the police, that he should get off our property this instant, but the man stayed still. Wouldn't take his eyes off of Omen. Spoke strange words to himself under his breath. Prayed. When the police came sometime later, the man was gone. The strange man made the local headlines, filling his pockets with rocks and throwing himself into the river. They said he'd finally lost it, that the weight of whatever he'd done had finally caught up to him. But I knew something had happened that day. Omen had shown the man something in that moment. Shown the man something so real and terrifying he had no choice but to drown himself. As if to confirm my suspicions, Omen coughed up a wet, blonde, hairball. 15. Omen discovered catnip and spent 3 days in a little daze like some sort of feline junkie until Ma caught them staring at their own reflection. Embarrassed, Omen quit their newfound habit there and then. 16. Omen brought in the top half of the squirrel while we were watching TV. The twins laughed. Pa said, "Looks familiar." Ma said she felt like a little deja vu, almost. Try as we might, we couldn't place it. 17. Omen was sick in the night, and when we took them to the vet, she showed us her tattoo of a two-headed cat. "It's just like yours. I've never seen a real one," she said, feigning surprise. But the look she shared with Omen made me think otherwise. 18. Omen spent their last 5 nights with each one of us. First Ma, then Pa, then the twins for 1 night each, and last of all, me. They slept by my side, purring like kindling whenever I'd tickle each one of their chins. We both knew that their time was nearly up. They were growing old, and what had once been muscle and fat had quickly become skin and bone. Their eyes were not as sharp and had developed a thin, milky membrane. Sometimes one head would wake the other, and they'd spend a while bickering before they realized they were talking to themselves. Before they passed, they made one last slow circuit of the house, checking behind each door and under each bed as if to say to us and to the twins, "See? You're safe now." We buried Omen under their favorite tree in a little wooden box we filled with shredded newspaper. Just above the box, to commemorate Omen, we planted a single orchid. We thought that every time we looked out and saw the flower, we'd be reminded of our friend and protector. And it was a surprise to none of us when, a month later, we saw 2 green buds rising from the soil. And that was all 18 lives of Omen. Wow, that one was actually a bit of a sad one, but I liked it a lot.
It was more sad than anything else.
Very strange, very odd happenings. I like that it leaves just enough to, like, keep you thinking about, like, what the fuck was happening? Like, what is going on with this family?
That weird grandma, then the weird dude who's just staring there mumbling, and then the obvious tattooed lady at the end, the vet.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed like the pa was extremely comfortable and he just knew that this was just normal, apparently.
Yeah, exactly. And what's ironic, I'm not sure if my mic would have picked it up. One of my cats, Mochi, actually jumped up on a drum stool that I use as a footrest, and she was just sitting there chilling while I read the whole story, and she just jumped down now.
Yeah, she was listening to. Yeah, she was just listening to the story. Also, I'm glad that you. I don't know if you noticed, but some asshat jumped into fucking chat and just was like, bad story. I was like, dead. I just insta-killed them.
What a loser.
Bro, I have a feeling it was a fucking kid.
Neon Ducks won. What a dweeb. What a fucking dweeb.
Yeah. I already fucking perma-banned them and just fucking killed them off. It's one of those things where, like we've spoke about earlier, about like coming to terms with things. When you become an adult, one of the things you learn is not to take that much nonsense. Like, if something bothers you, just get rid of it real quick. Like, if this were a younger, like, streamer or anything else, they would probably started arguing or something with them. Instead of arguing, I just looked at it, was like, can't be bothered, click ban. And they just put a smiley face.
What a fucking loser.
Yeah, because, if you don't like something, you don't need to type things. You don't like that. That's just being a bad troll if you just can't even make the dude laugh. Like that was just spam comment after spam comment, just being like, just gone.
What
Squeak
a
squeak.
fucking dweeb. Yeah, that's my my drum stool. Friggin'.
Yeah, like,
alright. Anyways.
That is just fucking hilarious that people still don't realize that if you don't like something, just move on.
Yeah, just how about you like shut up about it, you know?
Yeah.
Unless it's something actively that you can make a change about and that is like genuinely upsetting you and you need to like get it off your chest so you feel better. Then yeah, of course, maybe like say something about it, but if you're gonna like just complain for the sake of complaining and it's not like a funny haha, like
Yeah. I could understand if it was complaining
Shut
about
up.
like the audio quality being like something, like at that point I'd be like, oh, what's wrong with it? And if they say like, oh, there's this like weird like screeching sound or metallic sound or robotic sound, then I'll be like, oh wait, hold on, I can fix that.
yeah, exactly.
Like that's
It's
a
not hard to
constructive
not
thing.
be a jackass.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Especially
Fucking hell.
because we're in a day and age where people just we don't care anymore. You can't really do anything about it. We're both fucking tired. We're old. I can't fucking keep up with these COD kitties anymore.
I could not give any less of a fuck than I do right now. I'm gonna be real with you. I really don't care, bro. God forbid you don't like my fucking reading these random ass stories. Sorry you don't like my accent. That sounds like a bumpkin when it comes out sometimes. Sorry you don't like me. Cry about it and leave.
Or better yet, just leave. Just go away. There's 5,000 jiggle streamers out there. Go watch them.
Go away. Go away. Sorry I'm not jiggly. Sorry I don't got your fucking opie here, brother. Cry about it. Leave.
Yeah,
There's the
besides,
door.
these stories are meant for the people who want to hear, like, weirder, like, calmer stories and whatnot. And besides, I don't think there's another streamer at the moment, at least. I haven't seen any in the VHR category that actually read stories and stuff.
Yeah, I don't really think I've seen any either. I mean, there are, like, big YouTube channels, like, The Dark Somnium, like Mr. Creepypasta, like,
Yeah, there's YouTubers
those
who do
kinds of
that,
guys.
but, like, streamers themselves, they are very few and far between who read stories and anything else. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I would gladly read stuff, but unfortunately, I also get very tired very fast if I keep speaking, and fucking hell, there's the yawn. Like, if I would do that, I would literally just get into fucking mirror. I would just go on the fucking couch, lay the fuck down, just lift my hand up. I wish I had a book on the fucking Navi so I could pull that out and just start reading things. And if I get tired, I'd be like, sorry, Grandpa's tired. Hold on, let me just yawn a bit and then continue.
Fucking...
Papa's fucking tired, Sonny. Just wait a minute. Grandpa's moonshine. Hold on, let me just...
I'm tired of this, Sonny. Well, that's too damn bad, Grandpa. You keep reading. That's basically what this is.
Basically.
Fucking
A
hell.
burp a lot.
Anyways. Yeah. Alright. Fucking...
Yeah.
Man, I'm fucking sweaty as hell.
I'm bringing sexy back. Yeah. Oh, fuck.
Alright. So, moving on to the next story. I'm actually gonna do a little funny.
Gonna reach for the top, stay on the mountain.
Anyways, sorry about that, chat. I had to reposition a fan behind me. Also, yeah, I may as well just fucking adjust myself, because as much as I love this avatar, it does not have fucking Go Loco on it. Yokai of Hikari, fix that. Thanks. Anyways, so let's do a little hydration check. Don't forget to drink your Wawa, chat.
Drink your water, stretch. Correct your posture.
Yeah.
I see you over there hunched up like a fucking... What is his fucking name for fucking Notre Dame? I fucking forgot his name.
Quasimodo.
Yeah, Quasimodo, that's his name, yeah.
I see you with them dry ass lips. Don't lick them now.
Yeah, I
Dry
see
lip
ya.
having ass.
Yeah, yep, yep. I saw it. Yep.
Alright, gang. Anyways, let's fucking move on to our next story. This one is a bit of a longer one. It is called Room 127. Dead Air Live Wire. My daughter Agnes died at the age of 26 in a helicopter crash just south of Siberia. The official report said they had known they were going to crash for at least 5 whole minutes before the vehicle actually hit the ground. They had all made some sort of form of contact with family and loved ones, except Agnes. I missed 3 calls to my number as I'd been verging on blackout drunk and had consciously pressed the big red hang up button each time. I hadn't wanted to hear her the way my voice croaked after I found out my way to the bottom of the bottle. When they told me I was on enough dope to kill a small horse, and I spent the next 3 days spread-eagled on my floor without moving a muscle until the withdrawals got so bad I couldn't see. I crawled to the door and out onto the street until an ambulance picked me up. I was numb, broken. If I'd been an addict before, the crash set me into a nosedive. I began to drink as if it could physically fill the hole I felt within me. And on nights where I could see the end clearly, I'd find a vein that was shriveled and crusted and shoot it until I saw stars. Even though the grief would make my bones burn under my skin, I felt like a fraud. I hadn't been there for most of her life. Shit, if I'm honest, I'd missed almost all of it. I had given myself every excuse in the book. I'd embarrass her, I'd damage her in some way. I was toxic. Every ounce of self-pity I'd used in finding ways, ultimately, not to be her father. It didn't stop her, though. She was tenacious, determined. She'd call every Christmas and on every one of my birthdays. Her mother told me she never understood even why, though, I hadn't picked up once. She said she spent every day looking forward to her calls. I was slouching my way back home when I saw it first. The hotel, that is. A huge, intimidating building with brass lettering across the front. Hotel non dorminant. I knew it then, as if thought had been engraved into the folds of my brain. This is where I'd do it. I was too much of a coward for a real suicide, but I had enough in my savings to get their shittiest room for a month or 2. I could work on drinking and imbibing myself to death. It was a strange sort of clarity. It was probably the clearest and sharpest I'd thought I'd had in years. I was going to kill myself, and this is where I was going to do it. I wasn't much of a father. I wasn't much of a husband, or at least I hadn't been for all of 3 months I'd given it a shot. I wasn't even a very good drunk. But this, I could do this. I'd staggered in, already down half a bottle. The foyer was carpeted a deep red, and I remember thinking about how vast the whole place was. Would I even be able to get a room? Whatever. I stumbled a little and found myself at the check-in desk. No sign of anyone. A small sign read, "Back in 8 minutes." I hit the buzzer. Once. Twice. Just as my finger was poised to hit for the third, there was a click. A rush of voices slowly muted into static, and a woman's voice emerged. Room 127. I hadn't asked yet. Did you want a room or not? I was so relieved at the fact I didn't have to talk for any longer, didn't have to try and mask the way my words were starting to slur into one another. I just agreed. Sure. There was a noise behind me, and I turned to see a small bellboy in a strange little outfit that matched the carpet. No bags. Sorry. He shrugged. No problem. Can I get your tongue? What's wrong with you? He opened his mouth, pointed to the pink stub where his tongue should be. Shit. There was a click, and when I turned back to the desk, I could see my key dead center. Room 127. I tried to look around, but there was no one. Silence. I thought I'd make a stop at the bar, try whatever they had on offer before holding up in my room. Some sort of strange parting gift, watching the world around me as I settled into my end of life. I must have looked like a absolute state. Unshaven, stinking of booze and cigarettes, eyes red and puffy from crying. Flecks of blood caked in the scraggly beard I'd started to develop. I remember a few patrons giving me strange looks. A tall man relishing a scotch, clearly distracted by a woman in a white sundress. An old couple. A nervous-looking pair on a table on their own. The bartender was odd as well, wearing some sort of baby blue medical mask over his face. I slouched over the bar, trying my best to act sober, determined to at least have one drink while here. He appeared in front of me, and I was about to ask for a drink. And he placed a tall glass of water in front of me. I looked at him for a while, trying to see if this is a hint or an act of kindness he extended to all customers. I could see the bottle of Jack just behind him, half full of amber liquid, lit from below like a painting. Words began in my throat. A double Jack, please. But it died before they made it out of my lips. Something stirred. A memory of a memory, perhaps. Agnes's nativity play. It turned up late. I had to find a seat in the back. Made such a racket that one of the three wise men had forgotten his lines. Had missed almost all of her part, but she still couldn't help but wave in that funny little lamb outfit. I remember thinking how much she looked like her mother. How much she smiled just like me. Lopsided and toothy. I wasn't even there for 10 minutes when I tasted the Jack I'd had for breakfast at the back of my throat, mixed with the hot bile, and I felt my mouth start to fill with saliva. My head span. I spilled my guts outside the school hall 3 times. I puked so hard that I had popped a blood vessel in my eye. Too embarrassed to stay until the end, I'd walked the whole way home. She waited on the step outside for 2 hours in her little sheep outfit, pinching her nose to hide the smell, telling her mom over and over again that I would come back. She was sure of it. I'd woken up the next morning without my coat, behind a dumpster. I hadn't even thought of going back. The bartender still hadn't said anything. I spoke up. Second thought. And with that, down the whole glass of water. Made my way up to my room. Threw my coat onto the floor and collapsed onto the bed. The bottle I had stashed in my pocket winked at me, made lewd suggestions and whispered to me, but I held fast. I had taken to counting the cracks in the ceiling when the phone rang. Shit. Had I fucked up already? I ran through 1,000 reasons why they might want me. With a sense of dread, I picked up the phone. Number 1. I spoke cautiously. Hello? Who is this? A giggle. A child's giggle. Who's this? You called me. The tone was light, whoever they were, and they were enjoying this. I'm sorry. You must have the wrong number. I just checked in and felt grief tug in my chest. And a flash of self-loathing ran through my mind. My throat constricted and I thought if I talked any longer I might cry. On the phone to a child. I started apologizing. I'm sorry, I have to go.
What's your favorite animal?
The question was so direct, it took me a second to process it. It was so honest and so innocent that it cut through everything else. It was my favorite animal. I hadn't thought about that in years. Do adults even have favorite animals?
Hello?
Hold on, I'm thinking. The child on the other end tutted and stayed on the line. Thought about when Agnes was 2 and we'd taken her to the zoo. One of her first words was monkey, although she pronounced it mungy.
Munchie.
She shouted whenever they'd come up to the glass, whooping and all limbs and fur with those funny faces and strange half dances. Monkey. My favorite animal's a monkey. There was a sound on the other end, as if this child approved my choice.
Mine too.
And we talked for a little while after that. About monkeys and birds and cows and sheep, and I took the time to explain that wool was actually made from sheep, and we get a lot of products from sheep that they might know. Milk and wool and cheese. I never knew kids were so damn talkative. When eventually it was time to go, I found that I didn't have the energy to reach over to the bottle. Instead, I passed out in my clothes and left the lights on. Number 2. I awoke in the morning to another call. The noise cut through the dreams and drilled its way into my skull. My mouth tasted like a sewer, and spots swam in the center of my vision, forming and reforming like a private Rorschach test. Stags, skulls, bottles, lambs. Hello? My voice was strangled, rasping. The same laugh I'd heard before. You again?
Who?
Then it dawned on me. Child from last night. They dialed the wrong number again. Are you the kid from last night? There was a pause.
Last night?
Yeah, you called last night. We talked about sheep or something. The voice took a tone of gravity in a manner that children use when they want you to know that this is serious, and they're emulating every adult conversation they'd ever seen.
That wasn't last night. You called me a month ago.
I had pounded. It felt as if my scalp was pulled tight over a drum. Pretty sure that was last night, kid. I tasted blood from the nosebleed I had had midday the day before. In fact, I'm certain.
Are monkeys still your favorite animal?
Doesn't change from last night.
Last month.
I didn't know how old this child was. Whether they even knew the difference between days and months, I thought I'd give them the benefit of the doubt. Sure. Monkeys are still my favorite.
Well, I've got a new favorite.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it's,
I could tell they were reading something, mumbling the words to themselves a couple of times before saying it out loud.
Venus flytrap.
I couldn't help but smile. A Venus flytrap?
Yeah, that.
That's not an animal, kid. A noise of confusion and then...
Hold on. Let me get a pen.
And like that, an hour disappeared that morning. I took the time to explain the difference, and as far as I knew, between plants and animals, and I'll admit, the gray area can be a little dicey, so... I was so invested, in fact, that it wasn't until I hung up the phone that I remembered why I was there. It came back like an open wound. The walls of my room seemed to grow, and the space in front of me emptier and emptier, filling itself with nothing but the emptiness. Until it had nowhere else to go but me. That evening, the phone rang, and this time I knew, at least partially, what to expect. Number 3. Hey. Hey. How do you greet kids? Fuck. Hello? How do you do?
Hi.
Hi, of course.
You haven't called for a while.
I checked my watch. Sure, I'd say for 8 hours.
3 months for me.
There's a strange sort of acceptance in the statement, 3 months for me. Accepted as only a child could. As if this strange, out-of-sync time was just another fact to be learnt. Another quirk of the world that they were still discovering, and that sentiment was oddly infectious. I found myself in this strange and vast hotel, accepting it too. 3 months. Sure. What's new?
Not much. Mom's got a new boyfriend, I think. He keeps putting on new perfume and I have to stay with Jenny.
I could tell it now. There's a girl's voice. Must be hard.
Not really. Jenny's 6 and she has a pool.
My days had begun to pass like that. The call in the morning and the call in the evening. Sometimes months would pass for her. Sometimes only days. But time stayed regular for me. Began to curb my drinking a little, trying not to slur my words when we spoke in the evening, and hoping to be at least a little alert in the morning. She was curious, funny, determined, smart. She didn't take no for an answer, and more than once she'd have me in stitches with the way she stood up to her teachers. I told her what little I could about my life, avoiding all the grim details, settling with, I lived in a hotel. That seemed to be enough for her. I could picture the connection in her head.
Man on the phone lives in hotel.
I didn't know if she was a ghost or a phantom of my imagination, some horrid trick conjured by my marinating brain from years of hard liquor, but I pushed through the thoughts from my mind. There was something about the way she saw the world that helped me, I think. Some wonder and amazement and things I'd taken for granted. I'd forgotten what it was like to go to the beach without half a week's worth of booze. Forgotten what it was like to listen to an album for the first time without the aid of dope or hash. I'd forgotten what it was like to talk to a friend without either of you wanting something from the other. 18.
Do you believe in God?
A bit.
Me too.
I was beginning to think that this was the universe's way of offering me a lifeline. A chance for me to make up for being an absent father by having this little girl. Whoever she was. Wherever she was. Whenever she was. 22.
I'm 12 today, voice.
She called me Voice because her mum never told her to give her name to strange people. I called her Voice back. A little joke. 12?
Yeah, that's right. Shit.
Time flies.
Did you just swear?
No.
Sure you did. It's fine though. Mom swears all the time. Swears at people too.
Sounds like she has a lot on her plate.
I think so.
A natural pause.
Hey, can I ask you a question?
Shoot.
How do you cheer a grown-up up when they're sad? She gets these moods, goes into her room for a few days at a time, won't talk.
It was a big question, and I took my time answering. I wanted to get the answer just right. I realized, to help her. Be there for her when she needs you, I guess.
How do I do that?
Tell her you love her. Check up on her from time to time. I gave a bit more advice, and it was strange. I was nervous. I wanted to get this right so bad, and I was conscious that this would be put into practice, and this just wasn't a theory. I rambled for a while, and then she cut me off.
Hey, I have to go. Thanks though. It helped me. It helped having a grown-up to talk to.
Time passed so fast for her. Before I knew it, she was crying about her first boyfriend at 14, caught stealing cum at 15, and moaning about her mom not letting her drink at 16. 67.
You're sounding like my mom.
I bit my lip. Look, Voice, I am an alcoholic. I know what I'm talking about. It ruined my life. Just be careful, okay?
You're an alcoholic?
My chest grew tighter. Shit. I was. Sure, but for a second, I Thought she'd suddenly grow disgusted with me. Grow angry at me for being such a failure, such a fuck up, and yeah, I am.
That's cool. Shit, no, not cool, but it's cool that you were honest.
A beat.
Gotta go.
72.
I don't really think drinking's for me.
Really?
Yeah, I forgot half of last night, and to be honest, I threw up on Mom's boyfriend's new coat. Twice.
We laughed.
It made me sad as well, like, really sad. Like, there was something rotten inside of me and I couldn't get it out.
I let the statement breathe for a while and thought about what to say next. It does that.
It does?
Yeah, until before long there is something rotten. She thought for a moment.
You're not rotten.
This was my second chance. I was sure of it. Although I could never make it up to my daughter, I could help her. 95. I got the job! Oh shit, look at you. Biologist. It only took you, what, 5 years of university?
Hey, at least I got the job.
She had a point. 172. Her voice was shaky, but calm. Something was wrong. Something was very wrong. Before she even spoke, I could hear something in the background. Shouting, a grinding electrical sound. Hey, I could tell she was holding back tears. I felt sick. I felt sicker than I ever had drinking. I haven't even touched a drop for weeks. A small tremor started in my hands. When she spoke again, her voice was shaking slightly. I tried calling you. You didn't pick up. This was the first call I got. I know. Don't worry. What's wrong? The trip. The heli. Malfunction. Nothing we can do. But a minute before impact, I'm not gonna make it. I saw it then. To you, it must seem so obvious. I must have known this whole time. Perhaps part of me knew, but didn't want to admit it. As if admitting it to myself, admitting the fact that this voice was my daughter would ruin it. That I'd fuck it up like I'd fucked up so many times when I was actually with her. When she was real, tangible. Not just a voice on the phone. Maybe I was scared that if I admitted and she found out somehow, detected it in my voice, she'd tell me she hated me and leave me. That she'd wished I had done what I came to do the first night in the hotel. It was Agnes. It had always been Agnes. I'd been drunk all her life the first time around, and I'd miss all the clues that might have tipped me off. Her mom, when she moved, the fact that she never spoke about her dad. She spoke up. I knew Dad. And hearing her voice made my heart ache. It makes my heart ache still when I think about it. Hearing her call me that. Dad. A word I wasn't sure I'd ever actually heard her say. This whole time I knew. Tried to fit a lifetime of apologies into one sentence in one mouth, and they came tumbling out as half words, sobs. I I'm so sorry, Agnes. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have. I wasn't. It's okay, Dad. We were both crying now, and the noise in the background of her call was getting louder, more frantic. 30 seconds. I love you. I always have loved you. You know that? Of course. I'm so sorry. I haven't been. I'm not. I was never there for you. Dad. You were. And then it hit me then. I'd been a sort of father figure, sure. But I never actually thought of I was doing it for real. There was a scream in the background. How did you know? Somewhere near her was praying. What kind of daughter doesn't know the sound of their dad's voice? The beat. I love you, Dad. Then nothing but static. I left the hotel shortly after. I wasn't surprised in the slightest when they waived the fee of the room entirely, and the knowing look of the staff made me think my suspicions had been correct. They'd known. I thanked them and made my way out of the door. I passed liquor store after liquor store on my walk to town. Despite wavering once or twice, I didn't enter a single one. I may never be the man she thought I was, but I can at least try. And I hope that wherever she is now, she can see me. And I hope that just before I join her, she taps the other spirits and whispers with pride, "That's my dad. That's my dad, and he loves me." And that was room 127. Man,
Thank you for
another
the follow,
really
Alex.
sad one, but I do like the
I appreciate it.
concept of someone being at the end of their rope and receiving calls from a child that turns out to be someone they know.
That whole story was full peak Silent Hill moment.
Oh, absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. I was exactly thinking the same thing.
Thank you for the follow, Alex. And also, hello to you, Deathmap.
Thank you!
And hello, Gary. I didn't want to talk during
Hello.
the whole thing because, whenever zombies reading these stories, I don't want to speak over it. And even if I mute myself and talk, it still feels very rude to talk over it.
Yeah.
That's why I try and type, and as I'm can't even hear when I just type, because my keyboard is.
Yeah.
So I have to press very quietly, but even then, it still plays out. But that was a good
I
story,
was
because
trying not
it's...
to yeah, that was fantastic. I was trying not to yawn during that, though.
I think we have another
Hello,
cat in the chat.
everyone. Welcome
Alex seems to be a
in.
cat.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
It's a meow 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 meow.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Welcome in. I'm reading Scary Stories. But yeah, that last one, very, very strong Silent Hill vibes. I love that one, where it's like receiving calls from like some other
thanks, Alex.
worldly place of someone that you knew and cared for, and it kind of helps you overcome your trauma. I like that one quite a lot. Max Voynich, again, ladies, gents, and everyone else, fucking wow.
So was that
I
two
love
Alex
this guy's
Voynich stories?
Yeah, it was indeed. We've been reading a lot of Alex Voynich stuff lately. This next one we got time for it. This next one is also another Max Voynich story. I've
It's
just
really
been I
funny
have a
how
master,
hard it is to notice
I have a
that it's
master
him.
post. Yeah, right? Because he has this way of subtly changing the way he writes these stories.
They're nice, but no thanks.
Because with the Omen story, and you guys could hear it when I was reading it earlier, it was written in very much a southern way, you know, referring to the parents as Ma and Pa, and describing things like such, and well, it does have like certain vernaculars, because I think Max Voynich might be British, because there are certain words like whilst in the story, mum, and things like that that are very like specific. But bro has like this perfect way of very, very subtly changing the way that he writes things, that you really can't tell that these stories sometimes come from the same person unless you have been reading a lot of these, which we have been on these story times, and you are like picking up on very specific things.
He has had an
when
interview back in 2020,
Mhm.
and he back in 2020 he was 24, and he's from the UK.
right. I see.
He's
I
a
thought
young
so.
one.
I thought so. I see. Oh, yes.
Meow,
Meow. But yes, I've just been like clicking on different posts from like a master post of all of his stories that he's written so far, and there are like ones that are like multi-parts and stuff that I think would be like a bit difficult to read unless I dedicated like one or maybe like 2 episodes of the Midnight Zone to them. Oh, excuse me. But
Oh,
I
boy.
have been doing my best to like check out a lot of these stories. Again, some of them I cannot
That's actually funny, Alex.
read solely because of Twitch TOS, like your face, your porn.mov. I can't really read that one.
Yeah, there's a
'cause
lot that you
I'm gonna
can't
be
really
honest,
read.
I will admit I am judging it a little bit on just the title. It could be like something different upon like actually getting into it, but I can't really read that one. What else is there? I want to say something crawled inside of me and I can't get it out is also another one I can't really read because it's a bit graphic, like
Yeah.
sexually in the beginning, and I can't really do anything about that. There's only so much that I can do.
Especially because you're doing this by proxy through my side, and it's a bit too big of a risk through that. Now, if this was your own thing, then it would be a whole different ball game.
Even still, I'm gonna be honest, even if it was my own channel and I was doing this, I still probably couldn't talk about this sort of thing because yeesh, fucking, some of these scary stories can be kind of graphic. Man,
Yeah.
when you hear me like stutter a little bit when I'm like, oh, something else, that's me like censoring it for you guys and for Twitch TOS so we don't get fucking nuked.
Yeah, there's always that proxy fear basically that happens. It's why, like, when I was for example doing stuff with like Rat, it was really hard to like do like be like naturally myself, because I don't really know how it's gonna go when I was like doing a collab with him, so I didn't want to like say anything wrong that would cause problems for his side.
Yeah, exactly. You kind of have to be on your best behavior with these sorts of things, especially when it's somebody else's account. But yeah, I I am basically going down like a master post of
That's
just
weird,
like
Alex.
all of Bro's like different stories. There are some very interesting ones that I want to possibly read in the future, like Help, I'm Trapped in a
It's
Sitcom.
really weird.
The
Hold on,
piles
let
of
me
stone
check.
on the side of the road are not what you think they are. And then one that's kind of out there, like title-wise, Sex Cannibal Psycho Freak Killer. What the
What?
fuck?
Is that title?
Okay, I'll be honest, I think what I'm gonna do with that one is I'm gonna read it on my own time away from stream and then let you guys know what the fuck it's about next time I come back here next week. Cause, what the fuck?
Also,
That's a
hello,
weird
Take.
ass title.
Also,
Hello.
that's weird, Alex, that it's showing you completely different games if you go to the VR chat category. Like, if you click the category of VR chat underneath, like this stream, it will show you every single one else out there as well. Hello, Wishholt. Holy fuck! The follow age actually works
oh my
this
god,
time.
what the hell?
That works! What?
Hell yeah. What?
Huh. That's
Cool.
a long ass time. I don't think that actually works, but yeah.
Damn.
It seems that
Well,
as
thank
soon as
you
you click
for
the thing, you will go
Stick it
there.
around, gang.
I think I did force you to play French Tanks.
Perhaps.
Huh. Why does it only work for
Huh.
you, Take? What?
I don't know. I mean, they do have the Prime thing on theirs.
I have no idea why that worked.
I don't know.
I think
Regardless, anyways.
if you're like way too young, maybe it
Mhm.
doesn't show it yet. Like you haven't been like following for long enough. Also, yeah, thank you for the follow,
Maybe.
Wishhold. Or Wishhold.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for the follow, King. Just to fucking recap, because I know, fucking, we can get kind of carried away with stuff here. Hello, I am Zombie. I come on here on Thursdays to read scary stories for you guys, and, any and all proceeds that come out of these episodes are, I'll be fully transparent, they're helping me to get a new PC, because, man, my fucking PC sucks really bad, or I say PC, it's a laptop, and we call it the Panini Press. It's really shit, I hate it so much. So, it's all for a
It's
good
free.
cause, trust.
Alex, VRChat is free. And you can even do it on desktop.
Here, let me see how long this next story is. It should be just long enough to wrap up the end of this stream.
All
So let's
go into it.
get into it. Yeah. All right, let me get another sip of water. Also, sorry, chat, if I can't like answer questions or anything while I'm in the middle of the stories, because I have to be in a different tab reading the actual story. If I could have like chat like
Fair enough,
pulled
Alex.
out on something, I would, but my overlay's a little fucky, so I do apologize.
Wait until the end of this
If it's
year,
something
and
pressing, I'm
Steam
sure
Fam
Slip
should come
will,
out, and you should be able to do it.
interrupt for just a moment, just to bring it up, but only if it's like
Yeah,
something
that's fair. I
actually
know that
pressing.
pain, Alex. I know that pain.
Regardless, let's get into this final story for tonight. This is
Let's go.
if you are ever asked to be a contestant on the memory game, refuse. There's a reason they make you forget what happens. If I'd known what I know now, I'd have kept flicking through channels. I'd have ignored the fact that it was impossible that I was a contestant in a show I had no memory of. I'd have ignored the way the host knew more about me than I even knew about myself. And I'd have ignored everything he had to show me, but I didn't. And what's worse is that now, after all that, I'm genuinely considering his offer. But we should start at the beginning. It went like this. We've all been there, 2 in the morning, flicking through channel after channel after channel until you have no idea what you're watching. Working your way through your 4th, 5th beer? Brain dead, but no urge to sleep yet. That was where I found myself yesterday. And then something I recognized. An image cutting through the fog in my brain. Someone that looked just like me. On a game show I'd never seen before. I'd stopped flicking through the channels and tried to find it again, just to see how closely this doppelganger really resembled myself. But before the camera showed them again, it took its time, introducing the show, the memory game, and the host. The host was a short, strange-looking man, clean-shaven except for a thin mustache whose thick and garish makeup made his face seem alien under the studio lights. He moved somewhat like an insect, scuttling from the red velvet curtains at the back towards the podium where my doppelganger stood. No, that didn't just look like me. That was me. It took me a second to really breathe it in. There was something off about it. There was some obvious differences as well. The TV version was standing and seemed to look a little younger, a little less haggard. But there was no doubt it was me. He had my strange nose, crooked and slim, and the mole that rested just below my lips. shock of seeing someone who looked just like me, who could possibly be me, dragged me out of my fugue state, and I started to pay real attention. Something felt wrong, and the game show just began to take a sinister turn. Something was wrong. I could feel it. I could make out beads of sweat on TV Me's forehead. Small scrapes and bumps, mottled bruises at my hairline. I kept watching. The host had a small opening monologue, thanking the viewers for attending and promising them that they have quite the show tonight, and then turned to me. Welcome, Charlie. Is that alright if I call you Charlie, isn't it? Warm laughter from the crowd. Welcome, Charlie, to the memory game! That's my name. Charlie. Hearing him say it makes me tense up. Like it's activating my fight or flight response. And I'm glued to the screen. I rack my brains, but I have no recollection of anything of the sort. Anything like this, of any time ever being on any sort of show at any point during my life. Now, Charlie, we're so excited to have you. It was, after all, at your request that we got you on. Those turns to the crowd now, his face artificially pale and cheeks artificially red, raising his eyebrows in a cartoonish curiosity. Shall we see Charlie's request? There are cheers and whoops from the crowd, and the lights on the stage flash different colors, red to green to blue, but I can't take my eyes off of the Charlie on screen. His face frozen in terror, his jaw clenched, his hands holding on the small plinth in front of him for dear life. The screen cuts away to something else. The room is dark, but gradually the camera adjusts to the darkness. I can make out shapes in the dark, familiar shapes. My stomach begins to turn when I recognize them. My couch, the sculpture my ex made for me when we were still together, the last thing I have of hers, and I suppose the last thing anyone will have. Its silhouette against the half light coming through the blinds, and me. But I seemed different somehow, and was pacing the room, and with that, with what looked like a bottle of whiskey in my hand. The floor strewn with empty cans of beer, and I could just make out my own voice. Quiet and cracked, repeating the same few words. Make it stop, make it stop, make it stop. It's one thing to recognize fear and shame in someone else's voice, but hearing it in your own, being played back to you over and over and over again, it's something else. Empathy and concern and terror all rolled into one tight knot in my chest. I began to feel sick and looked around my apartment as I watched, tried to see where this camera might have been, but I couldn't see anything. And the TV cut back to the game show. Not so fast, said the host. My stomach turned when I realized that I wasn't sure if he was talking to me or the crowd. Quite a pickle you were in there, right, Charlie? The crowd laughs again. There's a close-up of my face, my clenched jaw, my eyes wide and bloodshot. I could feel myself dissociating slightly, watching myself acting out emotions I just can't remember, as hard as I may try. In a place I can't remember, and I'm trapped in my chair, my arms limp, unable to lift myself out of it to go somewhere else, and that's all I can do. Keep watching. The host continues. He's really enjoying this, and he moves around with surprising agility, all limbs and joints, bringing his face close to mine. And I can imagine how he must have smelt. And I can tell that he's enjoying this, torturing me somehow. Although I'm not sure which me he's torturing.
Well, there's a reason here why Charlie wanted to come on so badly. Isn't there, Charlie? Something to do with a lover? Perhaps a lady friend of yours?
The crowd gave an ooh, the type you might hear in an old sitcom in a live studio audience. Becca. Of course it was Becca. We broke up months ago. Oh no. Although, now that I think about it, I can't think why, and...
But Becca wasn't entirely faithful now, was she, Charlie?
There are awes from the crowd that don't feel genuine. Instead, as if the crowd are feeding into the host's little play. As if it's all part of what's coming next. There are images on the screen behind TV Charlie now. Images of me at her house, her in a towel, with another man. And I still can't fucking remember any of this, as if it never happened, but it must have, because these pictures seem so real. I can see the pain in her face and in mine, and the shame, and I'm desperately trying to remember so hard. God, why can't I remember?
And that's why you should always knock.
The crowd laughs, but the me on screen is fighting back tears, and I can see my face is wet with them, and I'm shaking. The crowd is loving it, and the host is pulling a caricatured, sad face like you'd make to a child or a puppy.
And Charlie went and got so very drunk, didn't you, Charlie? Likes a pint or 5, our Charlie?
The host winks at the camera now, running his thin tongue across his teeth, between his painted lips, staring right at the camera. Right at me. Me on the sofa, me with a beer in my hand, me with my throat suddenly tightening, because even though I don't know what's coming next, I can feel it! Like deja vu for something that's about to happen, and
now, Charlie, it's time to play the memory game!
the crowd goes wild, shouting and cheering, and the Charlie on screen is shaking even more now, fighting back sobs with a big gulps of air.
All you need to do is win, Charlie. And it's so easy. Easy as pie, even. Just identify this image.
The crowd is silent. I, on my couch, am silent, and slick with sweat.
Here we go!
And with that, the image behind me is shown. It takes a while for it to sink in. 2 tire tracks, swerving, cutting black ribbons through the snow. Snow that was white, and then deep red, like spilled paint, the contrast so stark. It could be paint. And 2 figures I couldn't help but recognize. One in that coat I'd always loved, that coat that made her look so small and frail, and made me just want to pick her up and squeeze her, and which I'd bought her for her birthday when we'd saved up enough for a trip to Paris, and a smaller figure so small it could only be a child, in a broken heap, limbs at odd angles, unnatural angles, and they were both so still. On my couch I could feel it all coming back, like a tidal wave of emotion rushing through every nerve, every synapse, every vein and artery, until grief completely consumed me and I couldn't breathe. breathe. Just watch. Then me on screen seemed similar. Sobbing now, breaking down on the podium, saying the same words. Make it stop! Make it stop! Make it stop! To no one in particular now, perhaps just himself and the host. Just put an arm around him, putting that same stupid childish pout.
Oh, poor Charlie. Wanted to give her a little shock when you saw her walking on the road, didn't you? A little fuck you to the woman who broke your heart. Oh, but Charlie, dear Charlie, tie her skin on ice, and if she's hand in hand with her little niece, she can't be expected to move so quickly, Charlie. Can she?
I am nested within grief now, and hollow, and I remember teaching her niece, her 6-year-old niece, how to make pancakes, covering the kitchen in flour, and spending the next hour cleaning it all up while she sat on the table and ate every last one.
But the good news for you, Charlie, is we can make it stop.
The crowd cheers, and a ripple of applause spread until it's hollering, and I can hear the stamping of feet from the screen. The host steps forward, and 2 women pull a large wheel on screen. It's covered in flashing lights and divided into segments. The segments themselves have grotesque images on, painted in horrid colors, and I could just make out some of them. Baling skin, maggots, a black box, an image of a corridor that never seems to end, and more, and the host steps forward with an exaggerated motion, spins the wheel, and I can see my eyes on screen widen in horror. And he tries to say something, but the host cuts him off with,
You did say anything, Charlie.
and the crowd starts chanting down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The wheel slowly begins to stop, the light bulbs around it flashing frantically, and the crowd is cheering, and the image it's landed on is just a pair of legs, and I can hear the host say,
Got off lucky if you ask me, Charlie.
in a tone that suggests he's sad about it. And I continue to watch in horror as 2 more young women bring out a stainless steel cart covered in all sorts of surgical equipment, and Charlie on screen tries to turn as if to look for an escape. But he's flanked by 2 men who drag him down onto the stage screaming, but his screams are silenced by the roar of the crowd clapping and cheering and stamping their feet in their seats, and I can't bear to watch. And so I look down at the trousers folded over my 2 stumps. And I think that I never really remembered the accident that put me in a wheelchair. And as I think I can hear the revving of a saw and a high, grating noise like something trying to cut through metal, and the cheering of the crowd, and still I'm flooded with grief and sheer disbelief, and I think that of the hit and run that killed Becca, how the culprit was never found, and how I never even thought of myself as a suspect, not with my own accident, and that when I really think about it, the timelines didn't match up. And it was all a haze, and it was all beginning to sink in. There was a noise like knuckle rapping on glass. I looked up. The noise of the crowd was dimmed. The host's face was close to the screen. So close, I couldn't make out anything else except the back of his hand covering his mouth, as if he was letting me in on a little secret. Speaking now, not to the Charlie on the show, but to me. To the me now, sad alone.
But Charlie, dear boy, we wouldn't let you get off that easy, could we?
He beckoned the camera to come a little closer with his finger.
We'd love to have you back, Charlie. But we'll let you think on it.
Taste bile in my throat, and I feel my mind slowly swell with images of the bodies in the snow.
See you soon, dear boy.
And that was shortened memory game. Wow, what a fucking roller coaster that was. My god, I loved that one. I thought that one was great. As someone personally who is actually a bit of a gore hound, I love movies like Saw, like Hostel. I thought that one was great. I thought it was fantastic. What did you think, Sleep?
I think it was an interesting story, definitely. The fact that the dude is suffering from memory rejection more than just not actually remembering. He did something horrible, his mind blacked it out, but he still got punished for it, and then he blacked out once more from it. And then he's reminded that,
Exactly.
hey, you screwed up. And at least this time it wasn't a crazy ex who's killing them.
Yeah, exactly. I really like the whole, like, the spectacle of, like, it being a game show. I like that shit a lot. That was really good.
Yeah. Now, was it actually a game show, or was it all a hallucination and he lost his legs a different way?
Yeah, exactly. Like, it leaves you questioning, like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah, because the way that they interact and everything else, it felt like he was more of just a unwilling spectator to something that already happened, and his mind just made something out of it.
Exactly. And I really love that the like psychological stuff when it comes to horror. It's super cool. Like, cause realistically, it's quite easy to break the human mind and make you believe things that aren't actually true. But yes, that concludes our time here on the Midnight Zone. Thank you, everyone, for participating in this little activity that I have every Thursday. It means a lot to me, more than you guys understand, to be here sharing my passion of horror and scary stuff with you guys and showing you that even though scary stuff is scary and there's a bit of trepidation with it, you can enjoy it in the right ways. So thank you again for your continued support. I hope I can do my best to bring you guys more of these scary stories and more discussions about horror topics in the future.
Yeah. For now, we're gonna head out and we're gonna go raid Zen Katsuragi, who's doing some Zomboid. I recently discovered him after yesterday's Zomboid stream, which was really funny. And I love his style of his model that he's using, which is a very low poly style. And yeah, we're gonna go say hi to him. I'll be back, surprisingly, this evening, aka this morning for some people, with some Katamari, surprisingly, because I want to play that.
Yes!
And then tomorrow will be more Dark Souls. Oh boy.
So yeah, stay tuned for that, friends. And until then, good night.
Bye-bye.